Do you feel stressed? Do you feel too emotional? Do you feel like you can't manage your emotions and you end up pushing them down all the time because you're scared somebody's going to see them? I'm Julianna Jay, the Soul Illuminator for numerologist.com, and today we're going to talk about emotions. Your emotions are so important. They're part of your emotional intelligence, which is your right-hand side of the brain that allows you to be intuitive, to feel into things, and to realize what's in alignment with you and what's important for you in your life. So when we align with the truest version of ourselves and we become our authentic self, we begin to feel very deeply and our emotions come to the surface. This can be very daunting. It's part of the awakening practice. But I think it is very fulfilling in its own right, because without being able to connect with our emotions, we are not able to recognize the signs that are coming from our body to tell us how we're feeling and how things are registering within. So our emotions are actually our energy in motion. So we know from quantum physics that we're all energy, and our emotions are our energy in motion. And they are constantly feeding us information of what sits well with us and what does not sit well with us, what makes us joyful, what makes us happy, what makes us unhappy, when ill at ease, full of anxiety, full of dread, full of fear. These are all triggers to tell us this fits well with me or this doesn't sit well with me. And they're very important for us to listen to those so that we get a clearer understanding of the authentic aspect of self. What is quite interesting is when children go to school, their intelligence and their ability to be intelligent and to do rote learning and to be able to bring knowledge to the forefront and be tested on that knowledge is very much an accolade that is seen as being very positive, progressive, brainy, intelligent, cool, doing well. What isn't focused on is emotional intelligence. And if we listen to the Dalai Lama or any of the great gurus and spiritual teachers, they'll talk to us very, very deeply about there needing to be more empathy and compassion in life. I know I'm an empath, somebody who feels the feelings of other people, someone who naturally knows how to walk in somebody's shoes. Sometimes it can be a curse to do that, and sometimes it can be a great blessing because I can understand another person and read them, and maybe you're just like me. But what we need is more people who know how to support each other. So our emotions are our gauge, they're our communication center to say this sits well. And we talk an awful lot about the communication center being up in the throat, but it's actually in the solar plexus. It's actually in that center inside the diaphragm, which is constantly sending us signs and signals to say, this sits well, this doesn't sit well, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. And those are really very important. And a lot of children are coming in very emotionally intelligent. They can read signs and symbols very, very well. Some of these are non-verbal children, but they are like little teachers in a home, showing parents how to cultivate the ability to read all signs, to feed into their intuition, and to be able to read emotions as well as to be able to read the language that is coming from them. So they stretch the abilities of parents to be able to work out what's needed in this time. And sometimes those parents go and are able to translate this in their ability to read all situations in life, and especially the emotions of many, many people. Some of them go on to make great healers, to make great teachers, to make great readers, and it's just incredible how sometimes children have that effect on families and our parents. So our emotional intelligence is our ability to read emotions. And years ago we would have teletransported in other lifetimes where we didn't even need to be with somebody in order to be able to read what was on their mind. And maybe you have had this experience of being able to think of a friend you haven't seen in forever, and all of a sudden they send you a text or they send you a message. That's a little bit like teletransportation, except there wasn't a text, It was something that came through the third eye and was received and communicated as a feeling. So as something that you could feel and that you could know very, very deeply, and it connected people. We've lost that ability generally to teletransport, except some of us have recultivated it in us, and it's very beautiful. But in the meantime, sometimes just getting a text from someone you just thought is that magic that comes in. You go, my God, we're all so interconnected. It's unbelievable. So what isn't talked about an awful lot of times is that we are really like a beautiful piece of orchestral music, and the composition of us requires all the high notes and the low notes. It requires all of us, and we're down to become whole and to embrace all of us, right? So it's not just embracing the happiness, the joy, the peace, the tranquility, the harmony, because we also embrace the disharmony, the frustration, the impatience, the dullness, the darkness of life, because we are down to look at a whole trajectory of feelings, a whole kaleidoscope of vibrations. And we get to choose the ones we want to interact with and the ones that we don't want to interact with. And this is very, very charismatic for us. So it's very, very important that we start to say, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I knowing? What am I sensing? And often on the path, we become really good at this. And it's quite life transforming. And what I would say to you is develop that emotional intelligence. Because what we're really down here is we're down as sensory beings. So we're down here to engage with our senses. They didn't come as ancillary extras. So the fact that we can smell, the fact that we can hear, the fact that we can see, the fact that we can know, the fact that we've got a third eye, and the fact that we can feel touch in a deep and meaningful way are all very, very important. And we also need to look at, how we embrace people. A hug takes 20 seconds for the energy exchange. It's not a whiplash thing, it's 20 seconds for that energy to be exchanged. But when we actually send out the healing intention that I'd love to connect with this person at a deep level so that they can feel that I really am empathizing with them, or I'm really happy to see them, or I'm really happy to greet them, that person feels filled with a beautiful sense of love and connection and support that's really real and very important. And the simple hug, and if you're not a hugger, put your hand on someone's shoulders, especially men who may be watching who think, oh my God, I got the signs wrong, I don't want to hug people in case it's the wrong thing. Put your hand on someone's shoulder, especially a male hand on a shoulder, can be so supportive, can be so beautiful. Or just reaching out your hand to somebody. But read the signals, read the signs, because you don't want to invade somebody's privacy and invade their aura. You actually want to connect with them. But our intention and our intention of bringing loving energy is what's felt very, very deeply within people. And it's that sense of knowing this is okay. I just wanted to show that person that I emotionally understand what they're going through. I can empathize with what they're going through, even though I haven't been through it myself. And it's like a calling for the soul to go deeper and to make the most out of every connection that we're feeling on this earth, and every connection, because I believe every connection that comes into our lives is important. It's so important. Our connections are deep. They all have a place in that piece of our orchestral composition. There are people to come in and show us things about ourselves. So when we're aware and awake to this, we can really see the precision of it all, and we can see the beautiful journey that we're being guided on. So be emotionally intelligent. Talk to your children about themselves being emotionally intelligent. Harvest that beautiful feeling of being connected with people in a deep and meaningful way, and that being a good thing, so that we really can live a life of meaning and of connection as a sentient being. This is Julianna Jay for numerologist.com. and thank you for listening.